Hey, Eagle Run 2-3 here. Working on this double-edged knife. It's a Smith and Wesson HRT. And my neighbor, we did a little bartering, and I told him I'd sharpen this thing for him. I don't know what it was like originally because he'd done some work on it. I think maybe only one side of it was really sharp and the other side was dull. I'm not for sure, but I'm cutting in an entire bevel edge here, and we are working on the let's see, we are working on the 20-degree mark. So the left side here is completely sharp, and you can see that that bevel right there, if it'll focus. You can see how the spine that goes down the middle of the blade, it's not quite level to the other side yet. And so that's actually how much more I need to take out of it. So I worked on this with a stone, and I was not able to get there. You can also see right here that that is not actually, those bevels are not touching yet. So, sorry for the hand here. All right. So, let's see here, this part right here, they're not touching, and you can tell when you run your finger along that there's nothing, they're not touching yet, so it's not sharp. This other side is very sharp. So when you run, you can feel, okay, we have a little bit touching right there, down here is dull, and then up here you can visually see that it's dull right there, those two bevels. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually taking a file, and I'm getting my angle from this right here, trying to stay on that angle just as close as I can, and I'm filing, and then I'm working it with a stone to make sure that I'm staying true to my angle. So I'm filing to remove more material quicker, and then trying to stay true to my angle. So anyway, this thing's been a challenge. I haven't done one of these before, and I'm not even for sure if they're going to match up perfectly on the end here. We'll have to just see. Look, again, the left side is sharp and the right side is what I'm working on. So I hope that they meet right there at the top of that ridge. We'll keep working on it. All right, so this is kind of interesting. You can see on the front edge here, the rough part, I've just filed that down. And then I came over the top of it with the stone, and you can see what's being polished is that top edge, which shows that now the degree of angle obviously changes as the blade rolls back up this way. And so as it comes back up, the angle actually changes, but I followed that angle on the other side, which is why the bevel cuts up so high. So what I need to do is I need to file a little bit more on that top part where the stone is touching. It looks like the bottom, the tip. Now you can see a little bit of black right there. That is my Sharpie, and I'll show you how I do that here in just a minute. The top still needs to come down to meet my angle. Now again, that angle is actually going to be greater than 20 degree because the blade rolls back to towards the fulcrum point of the angle, so that angle changes. We don't need to do any geography lessons, or sorry, we don't need to do any geometry lessons here. But yeah, so I'm gonna put a little. Basically, I just use a Sharpie and I do it like a guide coat. If you're doing like paint and body work, so you can see where you're removing material, and then as I wear that off, I can just see what I'm touching and what I'm not touching. So on this one, I want to come on this top edge right here and try to remove some more of that so that it evens it up and so that it rolls into what is essentially the 20-degree angle, but would actually be a little bit greater. But at least it's consistent, and I think that's the key here. The rest of this blade I've stoned at the highest grit that this machine has, which is a well, actually, it's kind of weird. This is a German stone, and so it's actually 160/125. I believe that is a equivalency, and I'm not for sure how that works. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing, but I think it's real close to like a 100 grit stone. So I need to work on that a little bit, make sure I know my numbers. The fine stones that come with this, the 2014, and then the finest is a 7.5, which from what I've researched, the 7.5 is actually a 2000 grit equivalency. All right, I'll come back here in just a minute. All right, I've run the stone over this quite a bit, and you can see I'm going to catch it in the light. That top shine that goes all the way down the blade, that is the correct angle, and down where the edge of the knife is, it still needs some more material moved on the top, which actually is consistent with that ridge running down the middle. So I'm going to keep on the file and try to not touch that bottom part. Try to stay on the top. Okay, I'm at a spot here where I'm just going to stone it the rest of the way. I just got to chase that little edge out. So I need to chase the angle down to the edge, and then I'm going to be good. The rest of this blade looks pretty good. Then I need to work on the other side quite a bit as well. Whatever I do to this side, I need to do to the bottom side as well. So, all right, that's what it's looking like. Just a little bit left to go. All right, so here's the finished product. Again, the Smith and Wesson HRT. The edge up here had to have a complete reprofile. I was able to get it pretty darn even, and it is just as sharp as you can imagine. It slices right through paper just as thin as you'd like. You can see down there by the logo there's a little nick in the blade. That was there before, and I told him I would chase it as best as I could. So that's obviously a defect there in the blade that I don't know what it came from. But anyway, I've learned a lot about my system with this knife. I learned that chasing 4 angles, 1, 2, and the other side 3, 4, chasing 4 angles to a tip is quite a project. I would never have tackled something like this without the without this machine. It's the TS Tech Studios Profile machine. It's about $300. It's from Germany, and while I can get knives sharp without an expensive knife sharpening machine, getting a perfect profile all the way around would not have happened. So I'm pretty happy with the results. I wish I could have got that nick out of the blade right there. I would have just had to remove too much material, and so it's sharp everywhere else. Alright, thanks for watching.